All right, welcome back, world. I am Nick. This is Swiftful Thinking, and I just realized that I forgot to say that in the last 5 introductions. So, lucky for you, unlucky for me. But we're here, we are learning Google, Firebase, and we're doing a boot camp. And the next thing we need to learn is, drumroll, well, you already know it because it's in the title, but fetching multiple documents from Firebase. So far, we've basically set up our user collection, but we've only fetched one profile at a time, one document. And we actually can write code to fetch multiple documents in one single fetch request. That's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna start with just a simple code, and then just like we've been doing, we're gonna figure out ways how to make that code more elegant, more reusable. And that's gonna set us up for the next couple of videos where we get into some of the really complex fetching, such as making queries and sorting and filtering and all that good stuff. But we can't do that until we have our foundation code set up for actually fetching those documents.
All right, everyone, welcome back yet again. And we're cruising through this playlist. I've said that too many times now. In the last couple of videos, we set up user profiles in our database. So we have users, the users collection, and a bunch of user profiles. We talked about different types of data we can upload and download. In this video, we're going to create a new collection of products. And the reason we're doing this is because I want to be able to query on a whole bunch of documents. And if 4 users is not enough. So what we're going to do is download some products from a dummy JSON API. So I have the API here. It is dummyjson.com, which is, they have basically just dummy endpoint, and they have a /products, which is an array of product. It gives us a dictionary with key products, and then that key has an array of actual product model. So we're going to download this, and then we're going to upload all of these products to our database as if they were like our products. Obviously, normally in your app, you would have some sort of CMS where your team is actually adding. Content management system is what CMS stands for, where your team uploads the products. You wouldn't have the user's app actually uploading products, right? Like you don't upload products to the Walmart app. They're already on the app. But we want to add some just for our use case right now. So that's what we're going to do. We can download this, and then we're going to upload these. If for some reason that API gets canceled, I also have included in the repo a products database file in the utilities folder. So if you don't want to deal with downloading the data, you can just open up the repo on my GitHub, and then all of the products are already in this array here, and you can just use these products. But we're going to download the products, decode them, and then upload them to Firestore. When we decode them, this is the data type that we're decoding from. So it is a products array that has an array of product in it. And this is what a product is. I'm not going to create a custom encoder and decoder like we did for the user object, just because I want to move fast. We already discussed how to do that. So we're just going to use the camel case, the default codable for this object. All right, so let's get into this. We're going to do this on a new screen, not the profile screen. So let's right click inside our core folder. Let's create a new group and call this product. And let's right click, create a new file. And this is going to be a SwiftUI view. We'll call this ProductsView. Create. Let's get the canvas going. When we get to the products view, we're going to be in a navigation stack already. So let's just add the preview with a navigation stack. All right. And we're going to set up a little bit of UI in this video. But first, let's get those products going. So I'm going to create a view model here. Let's create a at main actor, final class, products view model, conform to observable object, open the brackets. Let's create a function. Let's call this download products. Let's call this download products and upload to Firebase. Just be very explicit right now. We're only going to call this once. All right. So again, the URL is dummyjson/products. So let's use async await here. First, let's get a URL. We'll say guard let URL equals URL from a string. We'll pass in string. The string. We'll say L return for now. All right, let's create a task, and we're going to say do and cat. Firstly, let's get the data and the response from a try await URL session share.data. I'm moving fast here because we've done this before on my channel. Data from the URL. All right. So we should probably check this response if it is valid, but let's just check if there's data for now because we're moving quick. And we'll say let product equal try JSON decoder dot decode, and we want to decode to product array dot self from data. So again, that is, I already set this up. You guys can just copy this and write this into your app right now. When we looked at the JSON from the URL, it is a array of, it is first a dictionary that has products with an array of product inside. So that's first decoding to this with an array of this inside of it. All right, so we're going to have the products array here. And if we get these products, we then want to upload them to Firebase. So firstly, if we get the products, let's print out success and let's print out products.product.count just to make sure that we got them all. If not, let's print out error. All right, when this screen appears, we're going to call this. And so on here, let's put a dot on appear. Let's add in our view model at state object private var view model. Set it equal to a new one. We're going to call view model dot download product. Just to make sure we're on the right screen, let's make this into a Z stack. And let's add in a nav title of product. All right, let's put the products view into our app now. So last time we launched our app, we're already signed in with this user ID and we're going to the profile screen, but let's just jump back to our root view and comment out the profile view and make it the products view for now. Build our app real quick. Hopefully it loads. All right, and as soon as that products view appears, it should download the products. And if we get them, this count hopefully will be more than 0. I think there's like 30 products in the URL. All right, let's see if they print out. And bang, success 30. All right, we got 30 products. Now let's upload those products to Firebase. So we are going to create a manager class. So we had the user manager class here. That was for handling all of the user collection in our app. Now we're going to create another manager to handle the products collection in our app. Creating these files is up to you as the developer, how many you want. We could have one file for all of our Firestore code, and we could just say Firestore manager or database manager or something. But I like separating them out just so each one has their own endpoint, basically. So everything in the user manager is going through the users collection. Then everything in the products manager is going to go through the products collection. So I'm going to create a new file under the Firestore folder. I'm going to call this ProductsManager. I am going to copy what we have in the user manager here and jump into the products manager. Let's name this products manager. Make the singleton a products manager. And we're going to have a products collection. Let's call this product. And let's call this the product document, which will access the products collection.document at the product ID, which we'll pass in here. Cool. Let's write a function to upload a product. It looks like we need to import Firestore and import Firestore Swift. Sweet. Let's write a function to upload a product. And we're going to pass in a product of type product. And it will be asynchronous and thorough. And so just like in the user manager, when we set data from the user object, we're going to do the exact same thing. So paste it here, except this time we're going to the product document. We're going to pass in a product ID, which will be the product.id. We're going to set data from the product merge. We'll do false. And I think that is it. Oh, so the product from the server, the ID is actually an integer. If you look at this, the ID is an integer. So let's actually just make the ID here a string. So we'll convert the integer into a string. So we'll convert it into a string by just wrapping it words. Normally, I create the IDs in my apps and my models. The IDs are always strings. This just happens to be coming from a server where the IDs are integers. All right, let's upload some products. I'm going to come back to the products view. When we get these products, let's then say product array equal product dot product for product in product array. Let's call try await. What is it? ProductsManager shared upload product. We're going to upload the product. I don't really care about the errors here. Let's just upload the products and we will print this out if it's successful. Again, we're not going to use the response, so let's put an underscore here. And hopefully this works. So I'm going to run my app one more time. This again will get called on appear. And we will see. I'm going to open up Firebase. So this should create the products collection and then add a whole bunch of products to it. All right, and it looks like we got a printout of success, so it should have worked. Let's look at our database. Let's reload it. When you add a new collection, you have to reload the browser. If it is within a collection or document that's already existing, it'll update in real time. But look at this. We have our products collection, and we have all of our product IDs. So our product IDs are just regular integers. That's why it looks like this. Most of the time in Firestore, the IDs are going to be like auto-generated IDs, but I'm not really worried about that right now. So this looks pretty good though. We have all of this data now in all of these objects and we can play around with this. Awesome. Sick. This is looking awesome, guys. All right. So we uploaded the products. First thing I'm going to do is actually comment out this function now because I don't want to upload the products again. We did it once. We have it set up now. If this URL ever doesn't work, again, I have all of those products in our products database. They're listed here. You can just get this array and then upload the products. Works the same way. Cool. All right, let's remove this on appear call because we don't need it. The first thing I want to do is actually get these products on the screen. So what we're going to do is in the view model, let's hold an array of products. So let's create, and I actually want to I actually want to get rid of this now. I'm going to cut this and move it to I'm going to move it to that utility file I have. I'm going to put it here and just leave it commented out. Cool. All right. In our view model, let's create an app published private set var, let's call it products of type an array product. Set it equal to a blank array. And then we're going to create a function called get all product. And of course, what do you think it's going to do? It's going to go and get all of the products. It will be asynchronous and throws. And we're going to set the products equal to the result of this. So we need to write that function first. Let's go into our products manager. Let's create a func called get all products and open the brackets. All right. So in our user manager, we had a function to get a user. We accessed a single document and converted it to a user. Now we want to access a collection and get all of the documents in the collection and convert them to a product. So what we're going to do is reference the products collection, not a specific document, but the whole collection. We're going to say get documents. Now there's only, now you'll notice here there is no from completion, right? So if I look at the product document, right, there is a get documents as completion where I use the decodable protocol and we can decode that document into a specific model. They, for some reason, decided not to include that for getting all documents from a collection. I think the reason they probably didn't include it is because in Firebase, you basically pay for all of the documents that you fetch. So we have to be aware when we do queries like get all products, what is the size of that collection, right? If this products array in our database, if this products collection had a million documents and we called get all the documents, that's a million documents we're going to have to be charged for fetching and also decode, which is insane. So obviously, if you have a collection that's that large, you should run queries on it, not get the entire collection. That's probably why the convenience function is not there, because they kind of don't want people to actually get all the documents all the time. But for our case, getting all documents is all right, because there's only 30 documents in this database right now, and we can get them all. So here we're going to call products collection.get documents asynchronous function that gives us a query snapshot. So let's say here let snapshot equals try await. Now we have a query snapshot. All right, this function is asynchronous and throws. All right, so now from this query snapshot, we then want to convert all of the documents in here into products, each one. So the way we're going to do that is basically for documents in snapshot.documents. This is an array of document snapshot. We're then going to try to decode each document individually. So let's say here, let product equals the document. Let's say try document dot data. So Firebase does give us this convenience where we can take a document and decode the document directly. So not a query, but decoding the data in the document to a type. And we're going to decode it to product.self. So each one we're going to try to decode into a product. And then we want to return all of the products. So up here, let's create an array. We'll call this product of type an array of product equal to a blank array. And then if we get the product, we're going to product.append the new product. All right. And then after we loop through all of the products, we convert them all to product. We're then going to return product back to the app. So this function should return us an array of product. All right, not too much code. I think this is feasible here. Let's call this from our app. And go to the products and let's call here self.products equals ProductsManager shared get all product. We have to try await. Hopefully this works. On the screen here, let's do a for each. For each. And let's loop on the viewModel.product. The products have an ID, so we can conform to identifiable. Let's come in here. I already did ID, so it can be identifiable. So then we can use it in a for each loop. This will be for each product in. And let's just put a text on the screen, product.title for a second. If there's no title, let's just put NA. And when this screen appears, let's run a task and say, try await, get all view model, get all products. I'm going to run the app real quick. Oh, sorry. We should put these into some sort of VStack. We should put these into some sort of VStack. That would look much better. Let's do a VStack here. Or maybe a list. I think a list would look good. Put a list here. And let's try this one more time. Build it, see if it works. All right, we fetched all of our products. They're pretty much like random products, but we are getting the data. We're decoding them from our database and we got them here. This is awesome. We got a lot to do in the next couple of videos. We're going to play around with this data and do some real world use cases with it. But before we do, let's make the UI look a little bit better than what we have right now because it doesn't look great. All right, so firstly, let's put an image on the left of each of these cells. So I'm going to put here, let's do maybe what should we do? HStack. And on the left side, let's get the canvas going so we can actually see what we're doing. All right, on the left, let's put an image and let's just use the async image that Apple gives us with a URL. And we want the one with the content and placeholder, which is this one here. Let's add in a URL. from a string. So every product inside the product are URLs already, and there's a thumbnail URL. So let's use that. Come down here, say product thumbnail URL thumbnail. If there is none, let's just make it a blank string. There definitely is one though, and then we're going to say scale, which I don't think we need. I'm just going to delete that parameter. Content, this will be the image in. And let's just put the image on the screen for a second. And then placeholder, let's just do a progress. See if this works. Cool. Let's make the images resizable. Let's make them scale to fit. Let's give them a frame, a width, height, a width of maybe, I don't know, 75, height of 75. See what that looks like. Make it scale to fill. Let's give it a corner radius of 10 so that it clips to the corners. It looks decent. I mean, not great, but decent. And let's see here. Let's make the whole async image the same size so we don't get that weird loading jolt. That looks a little bit better. Let's maybe give the whole thing a little bit of a shadow. Does that look 10? That looks decent. I think maybe too hard of a shadow. So let's do maybe color.black, opacity be 0.3, radius of maybe 4. Let's do 0. Let's do 2. That looks a little more natural. All right, and then where the text is, let's make a V-stack. Let's align the text, the items in the V-stack to the left edge, the leading edge. And let's put on the screen the title. Let's put on the screen product. So maybe right. Price is an integer, so we need to convert it to it. So we'll say string. Otherwise, 0. If there's no price, we'll just keep it at 0. We can see the prices here. So let's put in the $sign and a plus. So we'll add in a string so we can get the $sign in here. That looks a bit better. Then what other piece of data do we have? Let's see, in the product. Put in a couple more pieces of data here. So we have the rating. Rating is also a number. The rating is a double, so let's make it a string. Let's do otherwise a 0. Let's do the products dot category and the products dot brand. All right, let's give the title a font of headline. Let's give the rest of a font of callout. All right, let's give it all a foreground color of gray, and maybe the title will do a foreground color of primary. Foreground color of secondary, actually. This way we support dark mode. And in this H stack, let's align everything to the alignments to the top. I think that's enough for now. It looks decent. Maybe alignment and maybe spacing 8. All right, again, I don't really care about pixel perfect UI here. I just want to get a list of products on the screen, and this looks like it works. Cool. We're going to do a lot of work with these products in the next couple videos, and that's why we're doing all this setup here. Let's add a little bit of spacing, make this a little nicer, maybe 12. And we should add maybe some category titles here. Let's add in actually the titles for what each of these are, just so that we are well aware. So let's do a price. Here, let's add a string, let's say rating. Add it to the other string. Here, let's also put this in parentheses, and we're going to add, what is this, category. Add this in parentheses, and we're going to say brand. Again, I don't care so much about the UI in this course, but look, we got some good stuff on the screen, and now we can do a lot with this data. before we wrap up this video, let's take this view and make it a sub view because I want to keep products view nice and lean. So I'm going to create a new file here. Let's create a group actually and call this maybe subviews. I'm going to right click, create a new file, a Swift UI file. And let's call this product preview view. Actually, we shouldn't use the word preview because previews are a thing in Swift UI. So let's call this ProductCellView. Like each one of these is a cell, basically. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to cut this H stack, paste it in the view of the ProductCellView. And let's just pass in a product. We'll say let product of type. All right. I think that'll work. Need to pass in a product here. So let's just make one real quick. ID, title, test, description, test, price, some number, discount, some number, rating, some number, stock, some number, brand, category, thumbnail, images. All right. Lastly, let's go back to the product view and let's actually put a product cell view on the screen for the product. We make sure our previews work before we move forward. I always am making sure the previews work because if they start breaking and they get really bad, sometimes it almost just feels like it's impossible to come back because you don't always know why they're broken. So it's good to keep the previews up to date. All right, sweet. This is working. Let's make sure the product cell is also working. This should look like a single cell here. That looks good. We didn't put in a URL, so that's going to keep loading. That's fine. Awesome. All right. Last thing I want to do before we wrap up this video is look at the function of get all products. Let's jump into it. So this code here, again, we had to write this code because there is no get documents as. So what we have to do instead is get all the documents as a snapshot, loop through the documents, and then convert them to product individually, and do that every time. And in the next video, we are going to do a bunch of queries on our database. So instead of get all products, we're going to do like get all products where the price is above a certain point, or where the title or the brand is a certain brand, or the category. And in all of those queries, we're going to be getting back multiple products. Not all of them, but multiple products. So it's again going to be converting the query to an array of product. And I don't want to have to write out this code every single time. So we're going to write a handy dandy convenience function to basically do this automatically for us. All right. So firstly, again, let's start with a function to get a single product. We'll do func get product by product ID of type string. Async the rows. And we're going to try await product document for the product ID. And we're going to call get document as, and we will get it as a product.self. And essentially we want to do this except for all documents rather than just one, right? This is going to return us a product. So what can we do here? So we're going to write some maybe advanced code. If you're just following my channel and you're just getting up to this point, you've never written code in generics with generics before. I cover that in the advanced series. Generics are awesome. And I'm going to introduce you guys very briefly to some generics right now. If you like this, if you feel comfortable here, go check out the advanced playlist I have on my channel. We build up and do a lot of cool stuff with generics. I think it's really important to know if you are trying to be a serious iOS developer. All right, so let's see here. So this products collection is a collection reference. And if I look up what the collection reference is, it is a reference that conforms to Fire Query. So Fire Query is basically the parent type for the collection reference. And that's important because later we're going to do queries, and those queries are also going to conform to Fire Query. So when we create an extension right now, instead of just extending the collection reference, we're going to extend query in general. So coming down here, I'm going to create an extension for query. And let's try to get this function into our extension. So first, let's create a func called getDocument. And we're going to be on a query. So this is the query. So this is, if we reference self in here, it's going to be this basically collection right here. All right. And then we're going to call this function is going to be this function. All right. So first, let's copy this, paste it down here. And now instead of getting the products collection, we're just going to call self. So now we can call it from any query. We can call self.getDocuments. And our code's the same so far. And this is going to be asynchronous throws and returns us an array of product. All right, we're getting an ambiguous use of getDocuments because because this is the same name as the native function. So let's just call this getDocuments2 for a second. All right. So in our function up here, we're just now going to call try await products collection dot get documents 2. All right. And we're going to delete this. So this is looking a little bit better already. And get documents 2 returns us an array of product. And that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. All right. Now let's improve on this a little bit. So we want to make this function look more like this function, where we can pass in the type that we actually want it to convert to, right? So let's pass in a type here, and we're going to call this type, and we're going to pass in product.self. Product.type. All right, so now when we go to call this, it's going to ask us what type do we want. And of course, we want to pass in product.type. Let's make this as like it is up here. So we'll give this an external name of as, and then the internal will be type. When we use it in here, it will be type. So as, and now this will be as. All right, so this is already looking a little bit better than this. Product.self, sorry. But what if we wanted to use this function somewhere else in our code, in our database, and we wanted to do a different type, right? Maybe we wanted to decode this into a movie. Can we do this? Well, we can't right now because this is only looking for a product. It's not looking for any. And what we want to do now is convert this function so that it can accept any type and then convert it into an array of that type. So what we're going to do is add in a generic. And we're going to declare the generic here as T standing for type. And we're going to pass in the T type. And we're going to return that T type. All right, so whatever type we pass in here, we're then going to return an array of that type. So now I could then pass in movie. When we go to decode, we then want to decode it not to a product, but to a T. All right. Now we're going to get an error here that we can't do this because T does not conform to decodable, right? We can only use this data and pass in something that conforms to the decodable protocol, right? That's from our codable, what all of our data models are conform to codable. We can't just decode something if it doesn't conform to decodable. Now we know movie does conform to decodable, but this function does not know that the type we're passing in does conform to decodable. So what we want to do is actually tell it, so we're passing in any type to our function, but it's only any type where the type conforms to decodable. So we're limiting our T now to only types that conform to decodable. So now we can actually decode it. And this obviously will be an array of T. Now that we've changed this, we can actually just make this get documents. All right, and now our function up here is actually, this part is fixed. It's actually just complaining because this function is returning an array of product. If we had this as movie, we can now use the movie type inside this function, which is awesome. Of course, we want to actually return products. So let's add in products back here. And then before we leave, let's clean this up a little bit. So we can actually, this code is good, but we can even condense it even more because we're like expert developers at this point, right? So we can actually just say, let product equal, and I'm going to try to convert the snapshot.documents. So this in documents, instead of doing a for each loop, I'm just going to .map, and each document inside there, I'm going to map to a product. So I'm going to take this bit of code here and return product. So we're just going to map it instead of creating an array and appending to an array. We're just going to map every document to that product. And we can actually even one line this. We can just say return. We can just say here, return the result of this decode. And then we no longer need any of this. And since there's nothing else inside this function other than the return, we can just delete that as well. And then since we're just getting these products and then returning them, we can actually just return the result of this. Get rid of this. And this function is now so incredibly short, but it is so powerful because we can get an array of products with just one line of code here like this. So now our get documents look just like get document, and we can now scale this up pretty quickly. Again, as I touched on before, get documents could be a little, we got to be careful that these queries don't get a million documents, right? If you did a query on your users and you had 10 million users, you're going to get every single document back, and that could be detrimental. It's going to run up your charges, it's going to run up your costs, it's going to run up the data that every user device is having. So we got to be a little bit careful. But for our case, getting 30 documents, that's nothing. Getting 200 documents, that's probably a good amount. 1,000 documents, that's probably more than we need for a specific query, and then you can go from there. But anyway, we wrote this awesome function. Hope you guys enjoyed that, a little bit of generic work. Haven't done that very often on my channel. And in the next video, we're now going to take this and we're going to do a bunch of queries and some pagination on this product collection. All right, hope you guys are ready for the next one. I'm going to go grab another coffee because it is now 2 a.m. and I am getting tired, but I'm also excited because we're getting into the good stuff. So hope you guys are as excited as well. Leave a like, leave a comment, join the Discord, and I'll see you in the next video.